Could there be an aggregation of issues or policy changes in this environment where people would be so aggravated and so frustrated that during the 2011 session they would be motivated enough to come to Florida, to come to Tallahassee and raise heck about what's going on?
School teachers. I mean, I can certainly see that. If they keep getting their pay cut and more demands put on them and teach more kids. And we had a very controversial education bill here a year ago that I think they rallied around. There's a lot of attention brought to it. I think it's on everybody's radar. That's the one I see potentially, I think, that could lead to something. I'm not sure you're going to get it as massive as where the strong union state as you have in some of the northern states and where teachers are paid very well by comparison to Florida as well. But I could see that potentially.
I agree. I think that if there is a group that that they ought to be worried about, it's the teachers. I mean, we've already talked about the possibility of changing the pensions, the education budget. Education and healthcare have to be part of what they look at hard when you talk about cutting the budget. We've got a budget that's over $3.5 billion in the red. And they got to cut somewhere. And, just like at the federal government, it doesn't make sense to sort of nibble around the edges. If you don't talk about entitlements, you can't really get any big cuts. In Florida, if you don't talk about education and you don't talk about health care, you can't deeply cut the budget. Everything else is just kind of little slivers. And education is on the chopping block. Governor Scott's budget talks about, what is it, a 10% cut, in per student funding. It's kind of a variable cut, but we're looking at possibly 10%. When you start telling parents of school kids that the per student funding might go down by 10%, and then the teachers who have to also work under those constraints. I think Brent's right. I think both teachers and public school parents, might be a constituency that we might see a few of up here.